Military families have incredible stories of perseverance while navigating frequent moves, deployments, food insecurity, transitioning out of the military, and more. This is the place for them to share those stories, highlighting unique experiences of military families. Welcome to the Professional Dependa podcast. What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Mike. Welcome back to the Professional Dependa. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, thank you so much for checking this out. If you are seeing this on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you can see all the other videos we got coming up. I'm going to start doing more short form, like not the shorts, but like just shorter videos about some of the other things that I'm getting into lately. Otherwise, welcome back to the podcast. This is the first episode of 2024. I hate to say it, but I'm super excited. I know like everybody that's on the internet doing things like this are always like, oh my God, I'm so excited for 2024. I legitimately am very excited for 24. Um, Ended 23 on a pretty strong note. I got a new job. So after being unemployed for just over a year to go back into the workforce, I was super excited about. It's not a job I especially love. It's not. But I think you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for here? I think you have to be consistent and you have to maybe kind of prove yourself worthy a little bit in the bad times. And I know I did a whole nother podcast with Ellen talking about not getting hired below your level of expectations or your level of basically your level. That's going to sound very arrogant, but getting hired below your means. Um, this job, while I don't love it, the people that I'm working with are really cool. And there's one very key thing about this job that I do really like. It's part-time, which isn't necessarily great. I would prefer full-time employment. However, with that said, I am off by 3 o'clock on the days that I need to be off. And on my long day, I only work till 4. And I go what I do on that day is I go in just a little bit early so I can get off just a little bit early because I have to leave my house at 4 o'clock on the day that I'm supposed to work till 4 to get my kids to the things they need to be at. So by working until by going by and my boss is great. My supervisor is very flexible. If I fudge it 15 minutes to come in 15 minutes early to leave 15 minutes early, then I'm still working those 8 hours. So I'm not like jipping my community out of the money. I'm shifting it to the left just a little bit so I can leave and get my kid to where she needs to be. And the wonderful thing about that is I'm able to bring in a little bit of money. I'm able to get out and kind of contribute feel like I'm contributing, especially because I'm working in the city that I live. And I'm getting to work. I'm getting to feel useful. If you'll remember, if you've listened to the podcast with Ellen, I like working. I like feeling like I'm useful. And I know I'm not saying that not working is not useful. Trust me, I fully understand the amount of work that I do as a stay-at-home dad. I do. Like even right now, I'm multitasking. I've got laundry going. I've already done some other stuff. I've already uploaded a video that I edited for something else. So I understand the value that I bring to being a stay-at-home dad. I understand that whenever I'm home all the time, that my wife doesn't have to worry about dishes. I already do all the cook. I can't say all the cooking, but I do the vast majority of the cooking. So I help with the cleaning. I help with, and here's another thing, like dad, especially like dads in general, we don't help around the house. If there's one thing if there's something that I would really enjoy for dads to stop saying that you help out around the house. You don't. It's your house too. You're not helping. You're contributing to your household, and you don't just contribute by working. The job that I work now is very physically demanding. It's not a mentally thought-provoking job. It's just not. But it's very physically demanding. And I still came home last night and I cooked dinner and I did the dishes. Why? Because I had something else to do yesterday evening and I didn't want to leave my wife with the dishes. And that was something that could take 10 minutes. Matter of fact, what I did was I did the dishes while I was cooking the asparagus. So dads, we don't help. Okay. You contribute to your house. I don't care how tired you are when you come home. I promise you, you're not coming home from an office job as tired as I come home from the job that I do. It's Working an office job is not as physically demanding as what I'm doing. I'm not saying that I'm better than you. I promise you, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's a mindset, right? You're not coming home from sitting at your desk so spent that you can't cook dinner or do dishes or help with or do the laundry. You're just not. And if you are, you need to get your life right. You need to start waking up a little bit earlier. You need to start doing some cardio, drink more water, lay off the booze, do something to give yourself the energy to help to so you whenever you get home, you can do the things you need to do to be an active, contributing part of your family, besides just bringing home a paycheck and feeling like you did something, which is a great thing to bring home a paycheck. Again, I told you I am fired up. I was exhausted last night. I recorded another podcast with a friend, and I was flat out exhausted. And I was not this fired up and excited. I was excited to talk to him because this was first podcast for the year with that one. But I was tired. Like, by matter of fact, this eye was like this, and I looked like I've been drinking, but I haven't been. So anyway, 2023 ended great. I really hope that whatever your situation was at the end of 23, that it ended as well as it could. If your spouse is deployed, you're away from family, whatever. I hope you made the best of your situation to enjoy the end of 2023, because 2023 was rocky for me and my family. Not saying it wasn't good, but it wasn't all great. If you go back and listen to past episodes, we moved, for the third time in 5 years. That's tough on kids, especially because my kids were just getting into school whenever we left were in Arkansas and left after 2. My kids are just kind of hitting their stride for figuring out what they want to do with school, figuring out what kind of kid they are, figure out what kind of person they are. And they're, in that stage where they're growing. And so we've moved 3 times in 5 years. That's tough. That's tough on me. That's tough on the wife. That's tough on the kid. It's been tough on the dog. So, it's really just tough. So it was a rocky year. We got through it. We had a great end of 23. So I really feel like 24 is just going to be great. Like I said, I found a new job, so I'm working. It was kind of weird to start a job right before Christmas. Like, that was a little weird, but hey, I'm grateful for it. Something else that you're going to be seeing a little bit more of as we get into 24 is I got a new camera. That's right. Apparently I was a very good boy in 23, and I was gifted a Canon EOS R6 Mark II, complete with a 24 to 70 2.4 2.8 f2.8 L lens. What the L means is this is their their higher end series lens. This is the RF lens, because the Canon R6 Mark II is a mirrorless system. I haven't talked about it a lot on here. I have been into photography for about 10 years, not very good at it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy creating, and I enjoy going out and seeing things that I can take pictures of. I've been shooting with a Nikon D5100, which is a crop sensor camera for those 10 years. All the pictures that I've taken with an actual camera have been on that D5100, and it's a good camera. It was a good camera to start learning on. I probably could have stuck with a crop sensor and done just fine, because I like that little extra reach. With that said, I really wanted a full frame camera. I have got giant hands. There are even times where a lot of extra large gloves don't fit me. So I really liked the feel of the full frame camera, and the 24 to 70, from everything that I read, everything that I saw, was a good all around work lens. So I can kind of use that to get started on taking pictures, getting better, learning how to use this camera. And then I'm very fortunate. My buddy Jason, who's been on here a couple of times, he's a professional photographer. I don't care what he wants to call himself. He is a professional photographer because he makes money for doing what he does, and he is really, really good at what he does. Y'all should check him out at Beard Guy Photography. I'll tag his photography page on here, but the dude is phenomenal. If you are a spouse or a military member that is a pilot, if you are in aviation and you want jet photos taken, if you got a Finney flight, if your squadron wants to do Christmas photos with the jets, y'all need to get in touch with Jason. Fly him out. I promise you will not be disappointed. He's got a lot of pictures where he's done this for other squadrons. He is your guy for jet photography, especially jet photography with people. He's your guy. Anyway, so my buddy Jason he's also a Canon shooter, and he also has a mirrorless. He's got the R6. I think he also has the R3 or the R5, one or the other. I think it's an R5. So a little bit bigger, a little bit faster camera, more megapixels. But he has a 70 to 200 2.4 lens, and I'm going to be borrowing his lens for that 7200 whenever I go out and shoot gymnastics and volleyball for my kids. It's the main reason why I got a new camera. My other camera just did not handle low light well. It was not fast. And both of my kids are now playing sports at a level where the movement happens quicker, the action happens faster. And I want to be able to keep up with that. I want to be able to document this. And I like taking pictures. And I know what y'all thinking. Oh, great. Another military spouse photographer. Those guys are a dime a dozen. You're right. But I'll tell you what, some of those photographers that are military spouses are top notch. I mean, a lot of these photos back here were taken by military spouses. This one right here, military spouse. This one right here, military spouse. These are school photos. These were taken by a friend of ours in Louisiana that's not a military spouse. Those are also not by military spouse. Anyway, I don't know if she was a spouse or not, but she was also a family friend. So anyway, I know a lot of incredibly talented military spouse photographers. So yeah, they are a lot of them out there. But think about it. It's one of those careers that you can take with you. You have to rebuild your brand when you get somewhere. But if you're really good at doing your thing, your niche, like I said, Jason, if you want flight line jet photos, he's your guy. He was an aviation guy when he was active duty, so he really kind of understands and he loves aircraft. So, matter of fact, I'm going today to take pictures at the Air Force Museum, and I'm going to be meeting up with Jason. So if I can convince him, I'm going to get him. We're going to kind of talk about jet photography a little bit. I'm not going to film it on this camera because I'm just going to be boring and film it on my phone. But sometimes that works. But I am going to be taking my Canon with me, and I'm going to try to get some pointers from him on how to take pictures in low light. These are going to be stills, but still, it's going to be learning a little bit more about composure and composition and how to frame the shot and like just how to kind of get the most out of it in those low light situations without using a flash, because it's a museum. These things are being preserved. You don't want to use flash photography in those situations. That's a lot of stuff that I just talked about. So what are you looking forward to in 24? I have got a lot of things on my plate. Talk about getting better at photography. We are rapidly approaching the part of the year where both of my kids are going to be doing all their different things. The competition season basically is getting started. My youngest daughter has already had one gymnastics meet, and her next one is next weekend. And from that point forward, it is off to the races. So between her with gymnastics and my oldest with volleyball, because volleyball season is also getting cranked up now that we're out of kind of the holiday break, the holiday season. So we've got sports, doing photography. I'm still writing. I don't know if I've told y'all on here officially, but I am writing a book. I'm very excited about writing the book. It is going to be military family centric. It is going to be centered around military life. It's not a fiction book. This is going to be nonfiction, not really self-help, if you will, but kind of more, yeah, this stuff exists. Yes, this stuff is tough, but yes, you can get through it. You can call it self-help if you want. I don't really know what it's going to be. I do have a working title. Don't know if I'm ready to release that yet. I want to get a little bit more into the book, but I'm writing, trying to create more because I really do enjoy it. I've started doing a morning routine every day, some form of it every day. I started it right before Christmas, and I have only missed 2 days since then. And this is, I guess, 2 weeks in. So I've missed one day each week of the full morning routine, meaning waking up at a certain time and doing the whole thing. I have done some form of it every day consistently for 2 weeks, and it's going to sound cheesy, but I can tell a difference. I could tell a difference on day 3. I really could. About 3 days in, I could really tell a difference. I could tell a difference in my mindset. I could tell a difference in how motivated I was to do things, to be creative. Because as I was growing up, if you're in your 40s like I am, or maybe even your late 30s, the idea of being creative, unless you came from a creative family, like your family was into the arts heavily, like maybe they were artists, maybe they're musicians, maybe they were writers themselves. The idea of being creative was not really encouraged. Um, your parents, I'm sure your parents were probably like mine, where they encouraged you to be creative, uh, but they were also very color inside the lines people. Oh, don't do that. Don't color outside the lines. You're going to do, and that's kind of stifling your creativity. I know it sounds cheesy. That sounds kind of lame. Why you're supposed to color inside the lines, right? If you're thinking about right now, like you're probably thinking you're supposed to color inside the lines, but why? And so the idea of being creative and being free to be creative was not that it wasn't encouraged, but it was also very, are you sure that's what you want to do? Are you sure you don't want to do something a little bit more practical? The idea of being like the traditional worker was very heavily encouraged. And so I didn't do really anything creative for a very large number of years. Um, because I was always basically told that you just need to go to work. And one thing that I'm really trying to impress upon my kids is the freedom of creativity and the freedom of, like, we've had the conversation about education, and I'm like, look, you don't have to go to college. Like, I wasn't told I had to go to college, but it was definitely heavily implied that I would go to college. Most of the adults in my, let me rephrase that. My mom is a retired school teacher. My grandmother was a retired school teacher, and my great grandmother was a school teacher. All of them went to college in some way, shape, or form. My grandmother, uh, so there used to be a degree called a specialist degree. I don't know if it still exists, but it was like you had your bachelor's, you weren't quite at a master's, you specialized in a thing. So I think they may have changed the name specialist to master's at some point, but that's what she had. She had her specialist degree, and I wanted to say it was in English, may have just been in education. I don't really know. Um, so it was heavily encouraged that I would go to college. Matter of fact, I got a little, when my grandmother passed, I did get a little bit of money from her, um, to help pay for school. And the reason why I got the money is because I was the only, she had five grandsons. I was the only one at that point to graduate high school and go to college. I was in college when she passed. Um, and so I was the only one kind of doing the things that she wanted her grandkids to do. And so, I did get a little bit of money for that. I would have rather had my grandmother personally. But that's neither here nor there. So I think what you can see where I'm getting at, though. Education was heavily pushed by my family, and I'm grateful for it. I learned a lot in college. I learned a lot that wasn't book related. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the kind of person I wanted to be. I really feel like I didn't kind of start figuring out who I was until college. I know a lot of people say high school is the best times of their lives. I do have a lot of good friends from high school. Some of them I still keep in touch with, but high school was not peak for me. I'm 41 now, and I still don't feel like I've peaked. There's some things that I probably have peaked at. Like I've probably passed my athletic prime, if you will, because there's certain parts of my body, like my knees and shoulders just don't work like they used to. They just don't. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life as far as sports go and athletics, and um, some things just don't move the way they used to. I did get my shoulder worked on, and I can finally move my shoulder without pain for the first time in probably 5-10 years. So that's a huge plus. Hopefully we can keep that needle moving in that direction. But what else? That's that was a big long tangent, wasn't it, y'all? If you stuck through all that, thank you for that. But what are you looking forward to for 2024? Like I just said, I'm looking at it to be more creative, to embrace that creativity. I know I kind of started talking about my kids. I've told them you don't have to go to college, but you're going to do something. My youngest keeps saying she wants to be a gymnastics coach. I was like, fantastic. If you want to be a gymnastics coach, then you need to make sure if you want to be a successful gymnastics coach, you're going to have to achieve certain things. Will you have to go to college? Not necessarily. Will your will your coaching career have a little bit more um what's the word I'm looking for here? Will it have a little bit more credibility if you were a gymnast at at the collegiate level? Yeah, because let's face it, like not every kid's going to the Olympics. I don't expect my kid to go to the Olympics. Would it be super awesome if she did? Hell yes, that would be amazing. But let's face it, that is you're talking about 1%, probably less than 1%. So realistic. Is she good enough to go to college? We'll see. We'll see. We don't. I don't know. Do I think she's great? Yes. She's also 9. Do I see other kids that are her age or younger doing better? Yeah. I mean, I'm just realistic. Same thing with my oldest, my 11-year-old. Is she a good volleyball player? Yes. Is she good to play at college? We'll see. Does she want to go to college? She says she wants to be a lawyer. We'll see. Got a long time to go between here and there. A lot of things can happen. A lot of things can change. What I'm telling my kids is to be open-minded, to not get sucked into one thing unless it's the thing you really want to do. Um, we've left open the idea of joining the military because let's face it, if you want to join the military, you can help pay for school. And the military has been good to us. Have we moved a lot? Has there been some stress and some strife? Yes. Has it been good to us? Yes. Absolutely. I've made some really amazing friends in places of the country that I never thought I ever would have lived. And some of those people are still friends to this day. It's opened up the opportunity to network and meet with people and share ideas quite literally around the world. I've met people in Japan. I've talked to people that are living in Norway. I'm close personal friends with people that have been in Japan. Or my buddy Jason was in Japan. My friend, I've got another friend, Rachel. Been in Japan twice. Friends in Germany, friends in Belgium. I've gotten to kind of live vicariously through their experiences and share information back and forth, pick their brain about what are things like, how does this work, how does that work, and share this information back and forth with people that I know and trust, so I know they're not feeding me a line of crap about how good or how bad something. And that right there is really what I wanted to talk about. I'm glad I said that because it brought me back to the whole idea of 2024 and things that I really want to see spouses as a general latch on to. We are rapidly coming to the PCS season. As you know, once you hit January, if you are in your PCS bucket, you are waiting on orders. This is the time where the wish list starts to kind of get finalized and nailed down. Usually between about now and maybe March, you might have an idea of where you're going to PCS this summer if you're in a summer PCS bracket. I know we are a summer PCS bracket. Thank God we're not moving this year that I've heard of. I better say that as of right now, we're not moving this summer because that would really suck. So we're a lot of spouses. They're so what you're going to start seeing are new spouses, not like new spouses, but new spouses to your area, or maybe brand new spouses to your brand new. Their spouse just joined the military, and now they've got questions. What I really, if I usually don't beg, what I beg of you, what I implore you to not do, if you have a spouse that is either brand new to the military or they are brand new to your area, do not drag your location through the mud to them. Because think about how stressful that is. Just because you're having a bad time there does not mean that it's all bad. I have been to a couple places where I've looked at the spouse's page and nobody had anything good to say about it. And guess what? I enjoyed myself. I did. I had a good time. I made good connections. I made good friends. I enjoyed myself. Usually, maybe that duty location just wasn't your cup of tea. For example, whenever I got to Fairbanks, the first several people that I met that I didn't know beforehand were just dragging Eielson through the mud. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to eat. There's no blah blah blah. But they had never they weren't the kind of people that enjoyed the outdoors. They wanted more shopping. They wanted more restaurants. And you're in interior Alaska. You have to shift your expectation a little bit, but they were unable to. So these were the people that stayed at home all the time. They never ventured out to experience what Alaska had to offer. They didn't want to go out and see the northern lights. They said it was too cold, which if you ever get a chance to go to Alaska and witness the northern lights, it will forever leave you in awe of the just absolute beauty of the northern lights. And just to think that that is happening naturally, it's insane. Um, but don't drag your duty location to the mud, because what are you going to do? Like, are you being helpful when you do that? No. What you're doing is you are adding an immense amount of stress to that new family that's coming in. What you could do better is be like, hey, I would probably avoid this, but maybe there's other things that are good. Like, I guarantee if you look, you can find something good at almost every duty location. Because for every four people that say something's horrible, there's two or three that are saying something's great. So it's just perspective, right? But don't sit there and be like, oh, run as fast as you can, whatever, because all you're going to do is make that person stress out. And we all know PCSing is stressful enough as it is. You're already trying to find what schools are we going to go to? Are we going to live on base? Are we going to live off base? Are the schools close to base schools that I want my kids to go to? Depending on how important education is or your situation, maybe you don't have a choice. Maybe you have to live on base. I've got a buddy out in California. They have to live on base because of what his wife does. But California has this really cool thing where if you're military, you can send your kids to whatever school you want to go to. So he works from home and he drives his kids to a different school district. It's a little bit further away, but they have the things at that school that his family is interested in. Just mainly the athletic stuff. So he's taking advantage of that. But whenever he first told me he was going there, I was like, seriously? Really? Because think about it, all I know really about California is it's expensive and Napa. That's really the only, and it's crowded. I know I really like Napa Valley because it's really pretty. I know it's expensive and I know it's crowded. And he loves it. He's like, it is nothing like anybody, it's nothing like anything has been said or talked about. It's like, yes, there are some things that are not fantastic. There are some areas that aren't great, but overall, he's having a great time. He loves California. And he's a Southern boy like me. Like, he's not like somebody that's from that type of situation. He's from the South, like I am. He's from a little town, and he's loving it there. He's also the kind of person that makes the best of any opportunity he's given. He could be negative. He could say, "Oh, it sucks," but he doesn't. Because what does that help? What does that do? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anybody. That's really one thing that I'm just practically begging as we come into this PCS season. Let's try something new. Let's be encouraging. Let's give out good information. And even if you truly have nothing good to say, let's say like just nothing good happened to you at that location, you could give it to I don't understand this. You could give the information kind of matter of factly, be like, look, this base wasn't the best for me. Here's the things I don't like about it, as opposed to just taking the blanket statements of everything here sucks. There's nothing to do, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't help anybody by just being negative. So let's go into 24. Let's be a little bit more positive. Let's be a lot more positive. And let's just try to enjoy 24. We've had a couple, the last couple of years have been rough. I really feel like 23, we're kind of getting it back on the right track. I know some things happened that weren't that great, worldwide speaking. Let's face it, some things are still going on in 23 that just downright suck. A lot of that stuff we can't control. So let's try to go into 24 more positive. Let's try to be encouraging. Let's be more helpful. And I would really love for y'all to find something new. Maybe there's a passion that you had whenever you were in junior high or high school that you really enjoyed and you were kind of discouraged from doing it. Um, like for me, it was just the idea of being creative. Like making music for me was always kind of the one thing that was encouraged, but it's because it was also helpful. I got a band scholarship for college from it. So it was beneficial to be creative in the music aspect. But then I kind of got away from that for many years. And I recently started making music again. I found a Scottish pipe and drum band here. One of the kids, one of the parents at my kid's gymnastics place is a Highland dancer, and her husband is in the pipe band. He's learning pipes, plays drums, and they invited me to come try it out. And so I came and tried it out, or went and tried it out rather. Really enjoyed it. Um, I felt like it kind of filled a hole that I didn't realize was there, if you know what I mean. Like there was a piece of me that's been missing for a long time. And whenever I started playing music again, I felt a little more whole. And I know that sounds like stupid and new age or whatever, but it's the truth. Like I felt like a piece, like I found something of myself that had been missing for a long time. And it just made me genuinely happy. And I look forward to going to practice every week to play music with people. That is something that I truly look forward to. And that's something that, people are saying there's not a lot of stuff to do here, that you have to drive everywhere to go do something. There's nothing in Dayton. You have to go to Columbus or Cincinnati or go up to Cleveland. Like you have to go somewhere to do something. You can't do anything in Dayton. I'm finding lots of stuff to do. Again, there's a lot, like for me personally, there's a lot of trails around here that are phenomenal. I like taking outdoor photography. So on top of doing the action stuff, I like landscape. So landscape, wildlife photography, that kind of stuff. I like taking pictures of nature. I don't necessarily like taking pictures of people unless they're doing something like family photos, like doing stuff like this. I am super glad there are people that like to do this stuff. I really am. But that's not my thing. I like taking pictures of people that are doing things and things that are outside, um, things that interest me. Like that's just what I like to do. So the ability to be able to go out on these trails and take pictures of nature, I really like. And that's stuff that's in our backyard. There are so many parks in this area that you would never think are like when you think of Dayton, everybody thinks downtown and it's gross and it's this, that, and the other. It's really not. Are there a lot of homeless? There's quite a few homeless folks, but not any more than are in Anchorage. The amount of homeless people in Anchorage would astound you. And then you come to Dayton and it's just kind of like, okay. Is it sad and depressing? A little bit, yeah. Unless you've never experienced it. If you've never experienced it before, it is kind of disheartening. If you've experienced it, I hate to say it, but you kind of get numb to it and you really want to kind of find a way to help. Um, but yeah, so there's always something to do if you're willing to go out and look for it. That's one thing that I have found. The spouses that complain about their duty locations and how there's nothing to do, usually they're not looking. They want it, typically it feels like they want things hand delivered to them. They want it all right in their backyard. It's like Cincinnati's not that far from me. If you want shopping, there's really not a lot of shopping in Dayton. The mall here is kind of lame. I've went to the mall here and I was like, this is kind of lame. But there's Cincinnati's like 30 minutes down the road. There's a really cool outlet mall that's got like I think they call it a premium outlet mall. So it's like more name brand stuff, but it's like 20 minutes down the road. So there's shopping right there. There's actually a lot of restaurants in Dayton. Or you could shoot up to Columbus. It's like 45, 50 minutes away. It's not that bad. But I guess like for me personally, like once you live in Alaska, like move like your idea of what's close kind of changes when you like once you're there and you're like, oh yeah, we're taking a day trip to Anchorage. Oh, how far is that? 8 hours. So you're like, drive down to Anchorage, spend the day, spend the night, and then come back. It's or you hop on a. I don't know if anybody's in Alaska listening, I don't know, is Raven Air still a thing where you could like take the hop from Fairbanks to Anchorage, go, rent an Uber or rent a car while you're there, and then come back? Is that still a thing? Anyway, so let's be more positive. Let's try something new or try something old that you haven't done in a while. Again, I have not played drums, like just a straight up snare drum, like a marching snare, since high school. I think I probably hacked around a little bit in college during like breaks and stuff, but like to actually like just play snare drum, I haven't done it since high school. So you're talking almost 20 years. I mean, I still play every once in a while, but an added benefit of doing that is because I've kind of started getting more into it. Now my kids are like, "What are you doing?" My oldest is like, "Hey, can you teach me?" Absolutely. Absolutely, I can teach you. That fills my heart. Like I loved that. What is that expression? Spark joy. That sparked so much joy because here's my kid wanting to do something that means a lot to me, and she's showing a genuine interest in it. Is she going to stick with it? I have no idea. She is a little bit younger than I was when I very first started because I didn't start playing drums till junior high. And she's not quite there yet. But if she sticks with it, great. If she doesn't, you know what? Maybe it's just not her thing. But at least I'm willing to let her get that exposure to try a new thing to see if it's something that she enjoys. And I would encourage you to do the same. Try something new. Let's go out and be kind. And that is the message for this week. So again, if y'all have stuck around this cannot speak now. If y'all have stuck around this long, I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are on Spotify, please follow this, subscribe to this or follow it. I don't know what it's called on Spotify, but it lets you know whenever I release new episodes. I have not decided yet if I'm going to do weekly or bi-weekly. I think I want to try to stick with weekly as long as I can get everything else done as well. Again, there's going to be a lot going on for me personally as far as travel is concerned. And in order to not go insane with feeling like I've got to do everything all at once, I'm just going to do my best to at least do every other week for y'all and hopefully start getting some more guests. Scheduling might be a little more difficult now that I'm working during the day and I can't just kind of schedule whenever, but we're going to make it work. I'm going to make it happen. And I'm really looking forward to this year, y'all. I really am. I hope you are too. If you're not, reach out. Maybe we can talk about some things that you can do to maybe improve your outlooks. Maybe there's some coaching tips that I can give you as far as if you want to start working out more often. If that was one of your resolutions to start working out more often, I can help you with that. Like just reach out. We can talk. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Y'all have a fantastic week. I truly appreciate all of you. And thank you for listening. Cheers.